Well, Stephen Fish is a professor of political science at the University of California and joins us now live from Berkeley. Welcome to the program. So Antony Blinken said that before his visit to China, the relationship between the US and China was at a point of instability. Would you say that the US-China relationship is in a better place now after his visit?
It seems like it is. It looks like this visit was really quite successful. The atmospherics were good. The fact that President Xi actually met with Blinken was in itself a really good sign. It wasn't clear that that was going to happen, and he didn't have to do it. Usually you have meetings between secretaries of state or foreign ministers and secretary of state, and it wasn't in the protocol that he had to actually meet with Blinken. The fact that he did it was a goodwill gesture, and the fact that he met him in the Great Hall of the People, which typically is reserved for meetings with other heads of state, was also a good sign as well. And it looks like they really did talk about a lot of the big issues. There's not going to be any agreement on most of these issues, but these are baby steps that could actually really end up amounting to something over the long run.
Indeed, baby steps, lots of big issues. What will you be keeping an eye on? What should the world be keeping an eye on between these two countries and their relationship?
Well, it seems like probably the readiest areas for improvement have to do with the economy because both countries really have a lot of mutual interest in better economic relations. The United States is pursuing policies now that China views as detrimental to its interests because it's pursuing an industrial policy that aims to make the country, the United States, less dependent on supply chains that go back to China and less dependent on Chinese imports. The Chinese actually view that as a problem. But the fact is the U.S. and China's economies are still really deeply interlocked. When the Chinese economy grows faster, that's good for the United States and vice versa. So both countries have fundamental interests in making their economies work and work better in sync with each other. You know, there are other issues on which you could imagine pretty rapid improvement as well. The United States is concerned with fentanyl imports. The fentanyl epidemic in this country now has taken 100,000 American lives over the last year. Some of those drugs actually come from China. That's another area in which China could cooperate with the United States at fairly low cost.
And Stephen, of course, we're here in Turkey, which has mediated a lot between Russia and Ukraine. A lot was said with regards to the Chinese government being very vigilant on the possibility that Chinese companies may be providing Russia with technology that can be used in the war in Ukraine. Also, there was a mention of the Black Sea Grain Initiative. Where did you see any progress with regards to the war in Ukraine?
Well, Blinken said that despite the fact that he's concerned that some Chinese firms could be supplying Russia with technology that could help the war effort, really that's just a problem around the edges. The most important thing is that the Chinese government not provide lethal aid to the Russian war effort. And Blinken said that the United States does not see that happening. That's actually really a good sign. And that's a matter of absolutely crucial concern, not just to the United States, but to the entire Western world. And so far, Xi Jinping and the Chinese government have shown that they don't want to wade into that. For the most part, on the big issues like military aid, they have respected Western sanctions. The fact is, China has an immensely greater interest in good relations with the United States and Europe than it does in relations with Russia. Its relations with Russia, in the economic realm at least, are really paltry compared to its relations with the West. It gets a lot of oil from Russia, but any Russian government would sell China oil. Its trade partners and its financial relations are much deeper with the West than they are with Russia, and they so far seem to be mindful of that and are respecting the sanctions.
Professor Stephen Fish from the University of California, fantastic to have you on the show. Thank you so much for your time
My
and
pleasure.
analysis today.